This is a website called Spam House, which sounds like a delicious idea for a downscale retro Hawaiian fast food place. Spam House, S-P-A-M-H-A-U-S. Spam House, Spam House. The worst spammers in the world. Spam House spammers, Spam House spam gangs, spam operations spammers, Spam House spammers.
No, she's not done.
The top 10 worst spammers in the world, 7 out of the 10 of them are USA. Spamming, spamware, criminal spam lords, spam operation, spam empire, criminal spam kingpin.
What's that remind me of? And so we were sitting at the table. We had just finished dinner. We are now having dessert.
I was sitting at the table. We had finished dinner. We're now having dessert. And we had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake that you've ever seen. And President Xi was enjoying it. And I said, Mr. President, let me explain something to you. This is during dessert. We've just fired 59 missiles, all of which hit, by the way. Unbelievable, from, hundreds of miles away.
Unbelievable. It would have been so much funnier if it were ladyfingers. We had these beautiful ladyfingers, and then we bombed Syria. But the real dessert came later. A massive bomb. Seriously, a really big bomb. Just ask the media.
The biggest conventional bomb the U.S. has ever used.
A U.S. bomb too big for a bomber to carry.
This is a bomb that is so huge, 21,000 plus pounds. It's basically shoved out the back of a cargo plane.
21,000-pound bomb, the largest non-nuclear weapon the United States has ever used.
Called a massive ordnance air blast, but its nickname, the mother of all bombs. At 22,000 pounds, it is the largest non-nuclear bomb the U.S. has ever dropped in combat.
OMG! TNT! It's like they never saw the ending to Caddyshack. But do you know what the media's response to this bomb really reminds me of? Those online videos where babies taste a lemon for the first time.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
You okay? What amazing parents. Anyway, the media's take ended up making the story way bigger than it should be, which once again only helps Mr. Trump, who they can't stand. It's the same cycle over and over again. They obsess over Trump's antagonism toward the media, then a bomb drops and they act like it's the apocalypse. And it wasn't even him who dropped it. But maybe it's more than just a bomb. It's a message to the rest of the world. I think it has to do with a new sheriff.
There's a new sheriff in town.
There is a new sheriff in town.
There's a new sheriff in town.
A new sheriff is in town. For better or for worse, there's a new sheriff.
There's a new sheriff in town, and he's willing to kick your dog. That's a handsome fella. It's one thing you got to know about the media. If someone says it once, then you know it's been said at least 10 times before. We are sheep. But the message is clear. The guy means what he says, and he says what he means. It could be a movie.
We have evil that lurks around the corner.
When evil lurks around the corner.
The people that we're going against, they don't wear uniforms.
When the enemy wears no uniform.
These are bad people.
How do you fight them?
They're sneaky, dirty rats.
In a world of broken promises, one man kept his word.
I would bomb the out of them.
And introduce them to Mother. Nude man in a unicorn water skiing floor in the car while drinking a latte and still looking awesome presents Donald Trump, Mad Dog Mattis, and David Spade as Gary. Executive Action 6, Cave Justice.
It only gets better. But, you know, not everyone was wowed by the explosives. There were other outrages to expose.
The president facing some major tests the past few weeks, and add this one to the list. The White House Easter egg roll. Sounds trivial, yes, but this is considered the biggest social event held at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, a tradition for more than 100 years. Here's the problem. As of earlier this week, many key vendors and schools say they haven't heard a peep about it. Will this whole event flop? And what does it say about this administration?
What does it say? An Easter egg hunt in jeopardy. What will we do? Maybe relax. Who knows? This could be another example of Mr. Trump trying to get a better deal. Those wooden eggs, they do not come cheap. Why should Trump agree to the old terms? And he is a tough negotiator, although he's so nice at meetings.
We're going to go around and introduce ourselves, okay? We'll do this first. I'm honored to welcome all of the many truckers and the trucking industry leaders. Maybe we'll go around the table, just introduce yourself and your company real fast. We'll get down to business. Maybe before the media leaves, we can go around the room and we'll just introduce.
I don't know why, but I love that. How pleasant is that? See, we don't have a new sheriff in town. We have a really polite Darth Vader. In meetings, he'll listen, he'll make introductions, he'll make friends. But on the world stage, he's not afraid to make our enemies nervous, which is good. You know, when I'm on the subway and there's a crazy person, the first thing I do is I start talking to myself really loud. This creates the crazy person immunity. The actual crazy guy looks at me and says, he's weird. I don't need the headache. That's how Trump is dealing with North Korea. It's not a bad strategy, although some feel differently.
You change opinions as quickly as Donald Trump.
Oh, my God.
That is the worst. How could you?
That is like the worst thing you could say about me.
No.
Why don't you just call me a child molester?
Okay, you're a child molester. Let's welcome tonight's guest, shall we? He's smarter than your dad and twice as handsome. Rob Long, executive producer of Kevin Can Wait, founder of Ricochet.com. Her arms are weak, her outlook bleak. National Review reporter Kat Timpf, look at that. He's dark and funny, like a clown's obituary. Writer and comedian Kris Reed. An aircraft carrier is his boogie board. TNA wrestler Tyrus. All right, Rob, you look good as always.
Thanks,
all right,
sir.
What do you make of Trump's week so far in the media response to all this? I just feel like this only helps him.
Oh, yeah, of course it helps him because they're absolutely baffled. He drives them crazy. It's a perfect strategy, and it's kind of the strategy he's using with everybody else. He's using it with the North Koreans, too. It's kind of driving them crazy. He sat with the premier of China, and he said, this is your problem. You solve it, or we're going to solve it in a very messy way.
Right.
And guess what happened? Like, we're sending gunboats there, but China's going to solve that problem. It's their problem to solve. And he's a walking reset button, this president.
Yes.
And I think that's, you know, I was not a fan. I am not a fan. But you got to give the guy credit. Everyone's got to learn. Everyone's got to learn that some things are true, even if Donald Trump says they're true.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's hard to admit, but it's true.
Yeah, you know, Kat, I think Donald Trump treats adversaries the way you treat boyfriends. You know, if you act a little crazy, you know, they act less crazy.
Yeah, except he's trying to make these people go away. I'm not trying to do that, but it does have that effect, unfortunately. I am a little, this might shock you, but I'm a little pessimistic about this. Because think about it. Remember when we said, oh, we take out Saddam Hussein, we'll be good? Remember the Libya thing? Remember Libya? Got to be careful. Sometimes getting involved here can have unintended consequences. And sometimes it's not always the answer to get involved and take these people out. Sometimes it's more complicated. I don't mean that in a hippie bumper sticker way.
Right.
I just mean that in a look what happened before way.
Yes, I know. But you know what? History has a way of not repeating itself. No one has ever said that before. I thought I would do that. Kris, what do you make of this whole situation?
Something no one else has said before. There's a new sheriff in town.
Yes.
I don't even know what we were talking about. I just wanted to use that callback.
You did. That'll go into the reel.
What?
That'll go into the reel for next week.
Yes. My main concern with the whole global climate, in the elephant in the Korean images right now, is the leg kicks they do, the marching.
Yes.
Is that? I feel like his grandfather maybe would not be cool with it. I don't know where it started, but it's like, you know, I know they like American culture, so I don't know if there was like a Broadway influence or like, you know, they wanted to launch rockets and then Trump scared them, and I think he just hired the Rockettes instead. I don't. Thank you.
And with the applause.
Yeah.
All right, Tyrus. You know, every time they cover Trump, I always feel like it's like a Twitter trend. You look and you see Jack Nicholson is trending, and you think, oh my God, he died. And then you click on it. No, he just had something to say about Jennifer Lawrence. So it's like you always think it's a big story, and then you look at it, and it's never that big.
Well, but they have to make it big. I mean, the mainstream media is so invested in anti-Trump when he does something that's not anti, they're stuck. So they have to make it anti. Like, yeah, he dropped the bomb in Afghanistan, but it didn't need to be that big. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really big bomb. It was so big. You know, how big was it? Thank you, Don Lemon. It was so big. You know, like, and the story was that he took out a major infrastructure of ISIS, literally infrastructure, their underground tunnels where they run around, and no civilians were killed. So it's actually a pretty good thing. But instead of saying, well, good job, Mr. Oh, God. They just can't do it.
They can't do it.
So, you know, their go-to is like, yes, but is he doing this to cover up Russia?
Exactly. Everything. Yeah.
They're literally a jilted girlfriend that you actually reconnected with, and no matter what you say, she just brings up old stuff. That's why you don't go back. You know, it's just...
I have to learn that.
Yes.
I think when you kill 100 ISIS fighters, that's never a bad thing. It's a great thing times 100. Okay, coming up, another story on Donald Trump. Yeah, another story on Donald Trump. It's what we do here. He's flipped more times than a cook at IHOP. The media caught him changing his tune on a few issues this week. Like Russia, he's a little frostier to them ever since Syria acted up. And China, he's a little nicer to them since North Korea acted up. And NATO, he used to think it was obsolete. Now this week he changed his mind on that, which made the media lose theirs.
Why the flip-flops now? In the past few days, there's been a breathtaking amount of 180-degree policy departures.
In just the last 24 hours, some major reversals from President Trump.
The political world is still reeling from a barrage of what some are calling flip-flops from President Trump.
Isn't that nice? The media that couldn't stand Trump's positions before now can't stand that maybe he's coming around. So is the accusation that Trump's a flip-flop just a crock? There's no doubt.
Oh, God, I just got that.
There's no doubt he's changing his stance. But flip-flopping, isn't it more like evolving? Or is it flip-flopping? Or is it evolving? Stop it! All right, Kris. Is he evolving, flip-flopping? Does it matter? Shouldn't you be happy that he's willing to be flexible?
I mean, there's a new sheriff in town. No, I think people that put him in the position, they trust that he's a businessman and, you know, over a politician. So his mindset, he doesn't really care about the blue-red stuff. He's always just thinking that for each situation, he's going to look at what it is. If he has to change a little bit, you know, deal with it. Whatever. Like with the China money thing, I don't think he's forgetting about it. They're gonna, you know, so they're gonna blow up North Korea or something, and they're gonna be like, "Woo, we did it!" Yo, about that money. Let's get back to the, you know. So
What do you think, Rob? I think that Trump said what he had to say to win, and that his supporters really don't mind, except maybe on one or two issues.
Well, that's probably true. I mean, the wall, he's going to have to build the wall. Yeah, those things like that.
I think the wall's going to be a beautiful little gate.
Yeah, in terms of, with a big, beautiful gate.
Yeah.
In terms of the Chinese currency thing, I mean, it wasn't that really he flip-flopped. It's that he realized that he was wrong. I mean, what he was saying was just, on the campaign trail, was just absolutely wrong. And he sort of realized that and changed his mind, which is fine. The weird thing about all these media guys is that I think what they think is that they keep calling him a flip-flopper, that the people who supported him will think of him as a flip-flopper. What they forget is the people who voted for Donald Trump aren't watching those shows.
Exactly.
They're not watching that. Now, I'm happy, right? I'm happy, right? Because I know China was a currency manipulator, and I know that NATO was really important, and all those things were true. And so I'm glad that he's sort of, had a reckoning. It's not really, I don't think he's evolved. I don't think he's flip-flopped. I just think he's suddenly met reality.
Yeah.
It comes to meet you in the White House every day.
Yeah.
You can't get out of it.
Tyrus, it reminds me of you. He's grown.
Yes. Not only because of the way he wanted to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because with me it was DNA, but with him he's in a political climate that things change, and you have to make decisions. It's called a job, and it's all facts of life. Unfortunately, politics and real life are very different. And I think he's finding out that being a president sometimes, when you get the real information, you might look over a band and going, what were you told me for 6 months, and this is how it really is. Being in the position that he's in, thank whatever you believe in, that he's willing to say, I did not know that. Well, then you know what? Let's do this. Because if he was like, we're sticking to the script, no. Then you're going to have a whole lot of problems because you have to be able to adjust.
That's true.
You need to be able to adjust. And the difference between him and previous presidents is he says it publicly, I'm willing to adjust. You're not a flip-flopper. You're making decisions. The president has to make a decision every day that affects millions of people's lives.
Yeah.
And he's willing.
Kat, you're a hopeless ideologue.
Yes.
You cling to libertarianism like a wet blanket.
My favorite.
I don't even know why it's wet, but I just said wet blanket.
Tears.
Tears. It's drenched in Kat's tears.
They all are.
Isn't it kind of nice that there's somebody there that kind of says, okay, it's dangerous to completely adhere to one ideology, because in the end, ideology ignores truth.
Well, no, but first of all, we're not just discovering this about Trump. He used to be pro-choice, he used to support single payer, and then he became obviously pro-life, and Obamacare is the worst thing, let alone single payer. Candidate Trump was different than citizen Trump. Of course, President Trump's getting different than candidate Trump, and candidates are always different than when they're elected. Being a candidate is like the beginning of dating someone.
That's true.
At first, they're like, baby, it's just me and you, us first.
Right.
We only matter, and then you catch them sending late-night texts to NATO.
Yes. It's interesting because the girl's name was NATO.
Yeah, always is.
A stripper named NATO. All right.
You've been cheated on by all of NATO?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I, in fact, have, yes.
All right. As you know, Russian Foreign Affairs Minister Sergei Lavrov had a busy week meeting with Rex Tillerson, but he still found time to act as a guest judge on my favorite reality show, RuPaul's Drag Race.
Coming up this season on RuPaul's Drag Race, a special guest judge heats up the panel.
Girl, I love you, and I expect great things from you because the cream always rises to the top. Now sashay away. Your beauty is flawless, but your outfit lacked clarity. I think you look like a basket of kitties. I am sorry, my dears. I am sending you both home. Neither one of you showed me the fire it takes to stay. Tyra, Jujubee, Raven, next week one of you will be crowned the next drag superstar.
I hope that doesn't make it back to Russia. I don't want to end up dead. All right, coming up, a story hardly anyone talked about this week. Something about United Airlines. Sure, it was nothing important. No one is delighted with United. This video spread like pink eye in daycare this week, showing passenger Dr. David Dow being forcefully removed and badly bloodied during a flight last weekend. United CEO Oscar Munoz, who knows, initially released 2 statements standing by the actions taken. But then after a pretty bad day on the other Dow, United dropped $250 million in market value, and some members of Congress were calling for an investigation. So the United CEO realized he was just plain wrong.
In the future, if no one voluntarily decides to leave a plane, based on the amount of money that United is offering, will United...
We're not going to put a law enforcement official to take them off.
A law enforcement official will never come on one of your planes again.
To remove a booked, paid, seating passenger, we can't do that.
Way to cave. No. Anyway, on Thursday, Dr. Dow's attorney held a press conference in which he said this about whether he thought the matter had anything to do with race.
I don't think this is a matter of race at all. I'll share with you a email I got actually late last night, who suggested that Dr. Dow was the modern-day Asian Rosa Parks. I don't think that's the case at all. I think what happened to Dr. Dow could have happened to any one of us.
That's pretty refreshing. So do you think this case will change how passengers are treated on flights? Well, we've got an exclusive tape on the new training protocols for airport security when dealing with non-compliant passengers.
Excuse me, sir, would you... An entrance to Reverend Moon? Witness for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
All right, I gotta go to... I spent a whole week, with a lot of people who were outraged over the story and the way the guy was treated, and I think the guy was treated badly. Whatever decision they made was wrong, but I know that Tyrus is about to hit me because you disagree and you're about to explode.
Rosa Parks?
I know.
Doctor, please. Okay. You might not like this, but I'm going to kick some truth to you guys. Okay, number one, the video is garbage. You understand that by the time it got to the police having to come on, he had already been offered, practiced, begged, given opportunities to leave. Other people on the plane were given up. Everyone's forgetting. What happened was United had an issue. The aviation stepped in and said, we need 4 workers to get to the next airport to help another airline, Delta, who's crashed. There's stuff, people were missing flights. It was a big deal. At the bottom of your ticket that you buy, it says, for the airline reserves the right for any and all reasons to remove your seat or change your flight. You bought it, you accepted it. Cool, right? He said, no, I'm not going. They were forced to call the police. Now, that means if I'm sitting in this chair and Greg tells me I'm leaving, and I'm like, hell no, Greg, I ain't going. Greg's going to have to call the police. The police came on. This is when they turned on the video camera. When they got to the point, the police were like, listen, you have to come off the plane. This is not the time and place for you being asked to remove. He said, oh, you're going to have to take me off. And they took him off, and his punk ass got messed up because he did that to himself. He was dragged like a 3-year-old, like my 3-year-old, when she doesn't want to listen, is dragged across the room to get her out of McDonald's because she wants to do her thing. This man is not a hero. He broke the law. Hey, look, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take away time, but damn it, Greg, he said Rosa Parks. The worst part of this whole thing is they didn't arrest him, they didn't cuff him, they didn't take him to jail, they took him off the plane, they gave him a chance, and what did he do? The punk ass ran back on the plane again, messed himself up more and was dragged off. This man does not deserve one dime. He broke the law. Period.
Okay. I tend to take medications when I fly, which causes me to fall asleep on the plane. What if someone were to wake me up and say, you have been chosen arbitrarily to leave the plane and I'm disoriented? I don't want to be dragged through the aisle, Kris. I mean, I think there could have been another way.
Oh, there is, especially in this case, because I think this story is about travel vetting, and if they...
I'm afraid.
No, because if they would, if they had some knowledge on his background of what had come out later about how he was, he got caught trading drugs for
sex. That was a long time ago, Kris.
Favors.
We all have pasts.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah. But in this present, all I'm saying is they probably could have offered him something else he would have went for. That's all I'm saying. But It wasn't off the table. Okay.
An interesting perspective, Mr. Freed. Right. Rob, I don't know where you stand on this. I mean, I still think that. I mean, he has a case. He got beaten up.
Yeah, you can't get beaten up, but I mean, I'm in a weird position because I'm mileage Premier Gold at United.
Yes.
So I kind of feel like I have a stake in it.
Right.
And also there are a whole bunch of us who saw that news story and thought, well, they would never take us off because we're like, it's like we're Group 1,
yes.
right? We don't get off. But look, I mean, that's a really good point. It's a really good point. You have circumscribed civil rights when you get on an airplane. We already know that. Mm-hmm. You got to listen to all that nonsense. Like, you got to pretend, like, please pause your conversation for a few minutes to listen to this thing that you already know. And they try to convince you that if they have, in the event of a water landing, that we're all going to, like, slide off that slide. Real casual, like, and we're going to smile. We put the thing on our kid. That's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
So we're already in fantasy
I just get up and step on people.
Yeah, I mean, right. We're already in fantasy land. You get on a plane.
Yeah.
But the truth is, the guy should have gotten off that plane
and then go complain.
Wow, this is a tough panel, Kat. This is a tough panel. You can't agree that this guy deserved it. I mean, I don't think that's what you're saying, but
no, I'm going to provide a perspective that only I can provide, which is as a financial analyst. United, anything would have been cheaper. They could have offered $100 grand for someone to take the seat, and it would have been cheaper. In what world is whether right, wrong, blah, 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 it doesn't matter. I don't think it was right, but even if it was, in what world is that as a business cheaper?
Yes.
In the world of cell phone cameras, maybe you used to be able to solve your problems in a quick, cheap way by beating someone up. But these days, no ass kicking is free anymore.
That is true.
The world sees it. It's not just your earthly judge. It's not just God. It's your earthly judges and your earthly lawyers, which is much worse.
Yeah, and it's a good point. When I pay to get my ass kicked, specifically so it's not filmed.
Yeah.
I don't want that stuff out there. You're right, though. It's all self. I want a job. Are there any jobs left where people can't film you and ruin you?
No.
No.
Not this one.
Mortician.
Mortician. Not true.
Oh.
Look it up. All right. Coming up, MTV is making a big change to its movie awards. Perhaps they're going to make it entertaining. Will going gender neutral prove fruitful? I speak of the MTV Movie and TV Awards, which is eliminating separate categories for male and female performance. Instead, trophies, if that's what they're called, will be given to Best Actor in a Movie and Best Actor in a Show. Explains MTV President Chris McCarthy, we have to constantly be pushing ourselves to not only respond to culture, but lead it. Yes, you've done a great job with our culture. You're like a toilet in reverse. So, now you don't have to applaud. I sounded like an old man there. I sound like an old cranky man. He's got to get a catheter. So will bigger ceremonies like the Emmys and the Oscars follow suit? Who knows? They can't even hand out the right envelopes. Meanwhile, we caught up with one of the most well-known Hollywood producers for comment. That's a cheap laugh, but I'll take it. When a seal makes that noise, you cannot not laugh. Rob, you're a fancy Hollywood producer with fancy Hollywood friends and fancy Hollywood drugs, fancy Hollywood prostitutes.
It's my weekend.
Exactly. It's an hour of your life. Is this inevitable across all award shows?
No.
No?
And it's not even inevitable for MTV. They'll change their mind.
Really?
Look, the whole point of Hollywood is that everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets an award.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have fewer awards. You're going to have more awards. They'll come up with best actor, best this, best that. I mean, maybe it'll be gender neutral, but they're going to have more awards.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is going to get an award.
Yes.
It's Hollywood.
You know what? I've never won an award, and I'm not going to say it would be just nice to be nominated. I actually would like to win. Screw I don't want to be nominated. Just skip that. Kat! If men, okay, let's say in this gender-neutral world, the men win more awards that first year, they will have to get rid of it. So I have a feeling that that will never happen. The women will always win more so that they can say, see, we're right.
I think that all women are going to win.
Yeah.
Because everyone who's voting is going to be so scared that that's going to happen. They'll be like, okay, the girl, we'll pick the girl, we'll pick the girl. Because if even one man wins, there's going to be a lot of think pieces about how the female was robbed because of the patriarchy. So it's going to be a great thing for think piece internet. Absolutely. Because we'll have that option. But the big plus is it will make it shorter.
That's true. Yes.
They're too long.
They are too long. They are too long. Although I do look forward to the political statements. People hate them. I love them.
That's how I form all my views.
No, but I just like the limited intelligence and experience and wisdom trying to pull off this false act of appearing meaningful. And when they do it and how good they feel, and then they
still get exhausted, like they just said something unscripted.
Yes.
They look so tired, like, oh God, I gotta go lie down. I just said 5 sentences that weren't written for me.
Yes. All right, Kris, well, where do you land on this? Do you think this is a good idea?
Well, if I happen to land an award, I would just identify as female, and then I would balance it out. Also,
your name is Kris. Already, you're there.
Kris with a K. I'm feminine. I got dainty fingers. But it will come to an end because once they get to the music awards, then there's going to be a problem because if everyone's in the same category and Beyonce beats Kanye, World War III. Right there.
Tyrus. You can't like this idea, or do you love this idea?
Oh, there's a new sheriff in town. And he has no gender. We're all sharing the same bathroom, and we're all going to give up the same awards. I'm sorry. Who watched the MTV Awards? When they stopped running videos, I checked out. So, I mean, the occasional catfish. I mean, it's to get attention because there was so much publicity over the bathroom stuff in North Carolina. They lost the All-Star game, so MTV trying to get viewership. We're going to have one gender. It'll be the same 6 people that always get it anyway. So, I mean, it's the same. They're going to push their movies. They're going to push their stuff, and it's kumbaya and stuff like that. It's people like you that is why our White House is the way it is now. So keep doing what you're doing and piss off regular people who work for a living and don't want to play those games where we're all one gender.
I only watch Catfish when I'm on it. And I'm on it often, by the way. All right, coming up, the amazing essay that got one kid accepted to Stanford. No, it wasn't called Greg Gutfeld Rules, but it's close. Stay tuned. Why show knowledge to get into college? Attention, graduating high school seniors. If you're applying to a Tony college, you may not have to apply yourself at all. Just make a political statement that matches the college's PC assumptions. Stanford University, go Clams, asks on its application, what matters to you and why? High school senior Ziad Ahmed replied by simply writing hashtag BlackLivesMatter 100 times. And he was accepted. Oh, hey, you got to give him credit. This pales in comparison to what I had to do to get into college. I didn't get into college, but the dean called me, and we had cocktails, and I don't remember anything. All right, Rob, this guy's kind of a genius, right?
No, he's completely a genius. He figured it out.
Yeah.
First of all, you know he's going to fit into to Stanford because he already knows how to parrot, weird, stupid hashtag, whatever the politically correct culture is. He orchestrated his essay so that if they say no to him, by their own sort of standards, it makes them racist.
Right. Yeah. They turn him down.
They turn him down. That's the way it works. And also, he already displayed a complete ability to outthink and outsmart the grown-ups who run that place. So who better to be at Stanford?
No,
this guy earned his spot.
I thought I wrote my note. I go. He identified the terror of the politically correct, and that was the open window that he just climbed right through. I think he made fools of all of them. Of course. Kat. Is this a slap in the face to all the kids who actually write essays?
Yeah, and to people who call themselves activists, because he said he was an unapologetic activist by doing this. But the whole purpose of activism is to enact change. He didn't even try. Nobody who didn't support Black Lives Matter is going to support it because of what he did. It's also very bad for the world, because everybody knows you need evidence to support assertions. Could you imagine where you didn't? A cop could just take you and throw you in the car and you'd be like, what did I do? And you'd just keep being like, hashtag you're arrested, hashtag you're arrested, hashtag you're arrested, hashtag you're arrested. And that would just be totally fine, and then the cop would go to Stanford.
Kris, do you kind of regret you didn't do this? What college did you go to?
Undergrad to sales and master's from Harvard.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I was going to make fun of you, but now I can't. Why did I ask?
Okay, ready?
But you're a stand-up comedian now.
Yes. Which begs, well, not, I don't know what that meant. Which leads to my answer of, I thought this was amazingly brave.
Yeah.
And I wrote it 100 times. Hashtag brave. And the reasoning is because I am pursuing a career in entertainment and I'd like a job in the future.
Yes.
So that's where I'm going to leave it.
Very good. You don't want this showing up anywhere.
Yes.
You do not want to, especially on a show on Fox, you said something that will come back to haunt you. Never happens to anybody
Well,
here.
I was on a show on Fox. So.
Yes. There you go. That's where it starts and ends. Over now. Tyrus, do you applaud or the opposite of applaud? Displaud?
I'm just like, whatever, man. Like, I'm glad I graduated and that's behind me, because I remember having to stress over essays and actually take time to write stuff and look at it and do like a first draft and stuff like that. And I remember like your SAT counted and your ACT counted and stuff like that in your grades, but apparently if you just write some hashtag on there that some guy named is going to look at it and be like, oh, whoa, this guy gets it. We got to bring him in. And is that going to work when he has his first, chemistry test? Your answer to Black Lives. He did it again. This guy's right. Like, is that going to be?
Everything is physics tests.
And then he sits there and goes, sir, we
this
got
architectural plan for the building just says Black Lives Matter.
Your first thesis, and sir, it's a little. Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Damn it. Good.
It's an amazing.
It'll be like cum de la. He'll graduate in 16 minutes.
I tried to get into a writing course at Berkeley. They asked for a submission, and I entered one sentence about sleeping with a dog. I didn't get in.
Did you hashtag?
Look at you now.
And look at me now. Yes. All right, coming up, Katherine Timpf, the Easter Bunny, an investigation you never knew you wanted.
If you'll be in New York City and would like free tickets to be part of our studio audience, email gregtix@foxnews.com.
On Monday, the White House will hold its annual Easter egg roll. Again, I wasn't invited for obvious reasons. It looked like a bathroom. The featured guest, as always, will be William Devane. I wish it would be the Easter Bunny. But as Katherine Timpf investigates, maybe there's other colorful characters just as deserving to be the face of this holiday.
The Easter Bunny. We all know him as the fluffy, folkloric figure known for bringing candy and eggs to children. It's a tradition that dates back centuries. But to me, something's always been off about him. Like, why the symbol for this great holiday is the animal that's better known for doing stuff like this.
She's running up, it looks good, and no, there she goes, and she's taking off with home.
Are we teaching our children that it's okay to eat candy left in our homes by a stranger in the middle of the night? For answers, I turn to the best legal mind I know. The Easter Bunny's whole operation is about entering your house in the middle of the night without asking. Now, even though he leaves presents and doesn't take anything, isn't that still a felony?
Yes, absolutely. It's breaking and entering.
And what if you get sick from the candy that the Easter Bunny leaves at your house?
I would hope you would sue him.
Legalities aside, it doesn't change the fact that the Easter Bunny's calling card is eggs. Eggs, which he didn't create, but merely redistributed. There's a word for that. Socialism. A notion I brought up to the smartest capitalist I know. Is the Easter Bunny a socialist? He doesn't create those eggs, he just redistributes them.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. He's a job creator. Consider that last year these Easter candy sales were $2.4 billion.
You know who that benefits? Dentists. So what you're saying is this is all a scam to benefit big dentistry.
You didn't hear that from me.
So there could be a giant conspiracy at work? That might explain how bunnies have previously landed big-time deals with Trix, Energizer, and Playboy. Meanwhile, the chicken, the true producer of Easter eggs, is left out in the cold. I can only see one solution that will put a stop to the Easter Bunny's anti-chicken agenda.
It's the San Diego chicken.
The San Diego chicken should be the new Easter Bunny, and I think President Reagan would approve.
Well done. Excellent investigative work. All right, you got to go. Thanks to Rob Long, Kris Reed, Katherine, Tyrus, the studio audience. I'm Greg Gutfeld. I love you.